just to say that. Björn Petersen has I'm just going to give a quick intro and then he can start with his presentation. So he has a background in business administration and has a broad experience in his working life in medtech. So worked at a couple of stations and been now focusing on 3D printing at point of care. And this is also what his talk title is going to be about. It's going to be software for 3D printing at point of care. So the stage is all yours. Please share your screen, and we are very happy to listen to you.
Thank you very much, Hannah, for the short introduction, and hello together to everyone. Let me share my screen. Hopefully everybody of you can see it now. And I will talk about today about, like Hannah said, about software for 3D printing at the point of care, and for sure also about the advancement for anatomical modeling and what you can do with the software about that. And from my perspective, when we are talking about anatomical modeling, often we are talking about use cases, materials. We are talking about the printer. And today, I think we will hear really nice examples how anatomical modeling will help clinicians in their daily work with the other speakers. But what the people are not talking about this often, from my perspective, is the necessity of the right software at the right time for the right task. So to have the right ecosystem to work in a good environment. And during the next 10 minutes, I want to talk more about the software you need to create anatomical models. For sure, we at Materialize, we are offering also certified software, the Mimics Innovation Suite, but I don't want to talk about software from Materialize itself. So I want to talk more about the software itself and what she has to do that the people are confident in doing anatomical modeling. And why it is important to have the right software in anatomical modeling. Maybe it will be clearer if we are looking into the process of how to create an anatomical model. What you see here is an example from our perspective, how we see the process of anatomical modeling for the treatment of a patient, for example. So for sure, in the first steps, you see integrated in the hospital, you need the patient for sure, then you need the MRI, you need the CT data, then you have a DICOM data set, and then you are giving it to the software. So this is the first point where I want to mark out to work with the software in this clinical environment. We say that you have to work, or it's better to work with the 510K clearance or with the CE marked software. Why is this the case? I think for example, for a European perspective, when we are talking about the medical device regulatory that will get effective with the end of May, then when you're producing an anatomical model for the care of patients and the treatment of patients, then you're creating a medical device. And when you're creating a medical device, for sure, you have to fulfill quality standards and you have to be MDR compliant. And it's much more easier with a CE marked or with a medical device software to justify to your quality management that the product you have done or produced and the anatomical model is MDR compliant. On the other hand, so when you're working with the STL, then you have to put it to a printer. And in this case, from our perspective, it's good to have a printer who is compatible with the medical device software, that you can be sure that these things you have created as an STL are at the end the outcome you will get when you will give it to the printer. So this is an advantage also of a certified software when you're working together with a printer provider you can work with. Yeah, for sure, in the end, you have the quality system and then you have the anatomical model you can work with. And now it will get a little bit interesting for me, and this is my experience when we are looking here in the 3D printing workflow. What you see here is are 7 steps you have to do to get the anatomical model, to get from the image to the anatomical model. And for sure, when you have bad imaging, then also the print result will be bad at the end. So I think that's clear. But if we are looking to the next 4 steps, we see that these 4 steps are all software related. So it's something where you have to work with the software that's not as time consuming, that's feasible for you. You can really work with you, because this is a lot of work for you have to do when you're creating an anatomical model. And this is also the part where you can do maybe the most of the mistakes. So you need something where you can work, where you can do a valid work, and where you can do a work what's not this time consuming. So this is a question when we are going to certified software. I talked about this. This is the consistency of the results. So to get the same results when you're doing the same workflow with the same images, that you will get the same results in the end. It can be or is a component to be MDR compliant when you're looking into the European sector. The medical device software is compatible with a printer. And something we see that's often underestimated is that also the software you will work with are often supported by training. And this is also an important thing when you're not the only one who is using medical software to create anatomical modeling. So you have to make sure that you have no differences in the user groups regarding the quality, and maybe also the workflows, that everybody is working in the same workflow, that you can also check if everything is going right. And for sure, you have a wide range of applications. You have the same workflow every time. You have not to change the software in between the creation process or the segmentation process. You have not to import to export. It makes the things much more easier. This is something when we are talking about now software advancement. I've picked out 4 parts of software advancement from the materialized side in our Software Mimics Innovation Suite. So we had a release last week or at the beginning of this week. And these are the newest advancement we are implementing in our software. For once is that you have the possibility to work with realistic colors. This can help, and also for sure to print in realistic colors. It helps a lot in anatomical modeling to have a better feeling and to have a better, that you have a better overview about the things. This was a wish of the customers from our side, where they said, okay, we want to have something in realistic colors. You will also have the possibility to use ultrasound data and to create your STL out of the ultrasound data. This is something for sure the people gynecology, oncology, and also in the vascular part or in the heart part, the people are working with. What's coming more and more, it's artificial intelligence enable automatic segmentations from our part, so that we see that we can provide automatic segmentations also for the heart part and for the CMF and for the knee. So it makes the process much more easier. It makes it faster and more accurate. And maybe a 4th point, it's a tool for interactive cut and pins and holes. I think for anatomical modeling in the hospitals, the pins and holes is not this relevant, but maybe the interactive cut can be really helpful to create more advanced anatomical models when you're doing it on your own. And in the end, I will make a short switch, because we all know that that software have its price and you have to pay it, and you need a justification for your purchase department, for whoever. And this is the reason why I put some results and to show the power of anatomical modeling when you're going on from a study base. And I put together some results we see here. This is something where you see that it's an operating room time reduction of 43 minutes when you're using anatomical models. So this is a nice study, I think. So everybody of us knows what a minute in the OR costs. So, and I think this is a nice justification to use anatomical modeling and to use also the software when you have these results in the end. So this is something I brought with. It's from the CMF part. It's a craniofacial model for mid-facial distraction. So it's also a reduction operative time of 30 minutes. Also very nice results, and time-based cost savings for sure are also there. And this is another one where we have orthopedic and maxillofacial surgery, that you have an average hour time minimization of 62 minutes and a cost saving of around 3,700 US dollars when you're using anatomical models to plan your approaches. And what we see here, it's not this much about money, it's more about quality and it's more about patient care. We see here, this is a study about printed models for surgical planning of complex congenital heart defects. And what it showed is that in almost 50% of the cases, the printed model helps to recreate the approach and to think about the approach and to use another approach you have, it was planned before. So all these are very nice things and a very good justification also for a certified software, for good software for anatomical modeling. You see here, you have a better preparation for surgery. You have reduced surgical time and cost. You have reduced readmissions, interdisciplinary collaboration, patient education, training and education for sure. And you have seen as a driver of innovation. I think all these are parts that are justifying cost for software and also on the other side for anatomical modeling for sure. And please allow me as a last sentence, you see it in the right corner here. If you want to learn more about point of care printing and about anatomical modeling, hey, please join us at 3D Printing in Hospitals Around the World. It's an event at June the 3rd, 2021. It's a 12-hour event with a lot of content. So yeah, nice to join you, and I hope I had my 10 minutes, Hannah. I think I'm in time. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Björn. You were actually perfectly in time. So thank you for that. And also, because I forgot about it earlier on, please everybody be free to post questions in the Q&A section that we can now address to Björn. So if you have any, just let us know and we will go through them after each talk. I'm looking at it right now. Or Jenny, do you have one to start us off?
Yes, I do, actually. So, you know, in addition to doing 3D Hills activities, I do want to also set up a 3D printing center at my own hospital, but it's a very small community hospital. It doesn't have a whole lot of budget. And every time, you know, we have to submit a pretty serious business proposal to hospital administrators to get funding. Does Materialize provide some kind of resources, you know, to help me to justify, first of all, purchasing the software? I know it costs, but I think it's worthwhile. Now, this is not a plug. I do hear some experiences from people using either Materialize or 3D System software. They both have good experiences. So I'm just curious, does a company have some kind of help me, people like me who have smaller budgets, to set up a printer center in this hospital?
If you look at this, so we have to dive into the situation you are dealing with at the moment. So, and what we see, it's to have a justification for the investment in the first steps is to maybe to start small and to be bigger and bigger in the end. So, and to go this way, and to try to find a lot of people also in your hospital next to you, Jenny. So if you have 2-3 more departments where you say, hey, it's fantastic, we want to work with it, this can also be the right push for it. So, but for sure, we are there also to help you with studies, with maybe with the results. What we can't do for you, for sure, we can't write you the business plan, whatever. So that's not, yeah, but for sure, from our experience, what we have is to do the small steps in the first, in the first way, and then to see how it ends. So, and if you're talking to the people, I don't know if you have talked to Dr. Morris from Mayo, when he's explaining you how he started and where he's now. So it's a lot of work and effort, but he started very small with a small justification, and he worked a lot, and he had a lot of collaboration in this hospital to work with the people. And what you need is the people in the hospital that say, hey, what you are doing, we also want to do, and we all have benefits from it. And I think then there is a push to the purchase department and to the CEOs to go this way.
Thank you.
Okay, so we actually do have 2 questions in the Q&A, but I'm not sure the first one is kind of self-explanatory by your talk. It's, what do you mean by atomic modeling? I think it's meant to be atomic modeling, and I think you pretty much covered that already. Unless whoever posted the question, let me know if you mean something else by that.
It can be also visualization. So it's a little bit like sometimes when you're doing the visualization and you're not printing it, then you have also something like an anatomical model. So, but we are speaking about, the model, like you said, the model is the model.
Okay. So the physical model, actually, if you talk about anatomical model and not the digital model, so to differentiate it. But to be fair, both are possible with using software tools. So. The next question is, what is the key challenge in driving the point of care setup?
Depends on the region, I think, where you are. Depends on your standing a little bit. So I think the main driver, when you're looking into Europe, I would say, and when I'm looking into the market, and I'm from the DACH market, so middle of Europe, so it's the cost. So, and what you have to do is to be, I will not say to be pushy, but to go the way, to make a lot of collaboration, to work hard on it, and so the heaviest hurdle you have to go, I think this is a justification against the purchase department, because we all know when we are starting with 3D printing in the first years in the hospital, it's something where you only will pay and not will get anything back. So, but over the years, and when it will go bigger and bigger, then you will profit from it, and you have to go the way to go in this direction. I hope this will answer the question.
I think so. Okay. So thank you. And we have one last question, which we will answer before we go to our next speaker. And that one is, using Materialize, we are able to create 3D models using DICOM images, question mark. And does that can help me to create prostheses and ortheses for patients, or is it just to create models?
You can create everything what you want if you have the STL and if you have the right part. But from this part, I just have to say that we are providing the software and we are not providing the printer itself. So in the end, you have to see with the DICOM data what you can do and what you want to do. I would say, yeah. So that's in that direction, maybe. And yeah, for sure, to be honest, when you're in a hospital and not a medical device company and you want to do something that you will leave within the patient, you have really high quality standards to justify the printing process, and to have all the laboratories and all the quality you need to bring, that you're allowed to use the medical product within the patient and leave it in the patient. So this is maybe something where you say that for some parts it really can be, it is possible and it is also used. So when we are looking into the CMF departments, but when we are maybe